Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Mega Man Quintum. It is Mars time and damn, this took a while to record because Mars is a right fucker, but we're going to see about that. First the level though, which I'm relatively lukewarm on, but it does have, as usual, quite a number of nice ideas. First nice idea, we have to go to the left. Revolutionary, I know. And also a lot of new enemies. Again, these guys you hop around a lot and shoot some things we can shoot out, missiles, and also there are these step mines which usually don't do much, but we're going to see more of them later on. One more hit for the bomb, it would have been gone, but this is of course meant as a complete tutorial to them. Again, very nice, it's very unlikely that this first one will hit you, and the theme explosions is very clear. These turtles are incredibly hard to kill, as you could see just by how much damage they took. They are invincible while spinning around, which they will do when you're near them, and saltwater is still very bad. And also they shoot out these homing missiles, which is relatively hard to avoid. I am also incredibly crap at dodging the monkey's bananas, as you could just see. And which is why I'm glad that we have a very good weapon in dealing with them for later on, because as we could see, saltwater is just not that good. Takes them out in 2 hits, yes, but we're already half out or more than that even. It is just... the weapon energy is the biggest problem. Bubble Bomb on the other hand is just absolutely fantastic and will pretty much solo carry us through this level. Ah, this is the first time this trick worked, I'm so proud of myself. Okay, yeah, Bubble Bomb is just incredibly good against most enemies. As you can see, it takes them out without any issues whatsoever. Even the monkeys are gone in one shot, and I'm also incredibly proud of myself for having dodged 2 bananas now, because as said, I'm usually incredibly bad at that. These things coming up from the bottom and wanting to crash into the spikes are almost no problem, because there is such incredible slowdown on this game, which I'm sure they couldn't do much about just because of the Game Boy's processor not being able to handle such tight-packed action. But overall it is just a little shameful because it negates the challenge from them, more or less, which is good on the other hand, because as I've stated time and time again, I hate instant death. This mini-boss is rather easily dealt with. 3 charge shot with, again, is very nice health for a boss in my opinion. You definitely have to learn how to dodge it. This is the one step on which can trip you up actually because of the height difference. But it doesn't overstay its welcome. Rush does not much help to get these here, and it's a right fucker because we miss out on some P-chips if we do get the health. And we also have the added danger of falling into some surprise spikes. Been a while since we saw these one, right? It's not too huge of an issue because immediately in front of them there is a respawn point, but considering that there is one, they definitely knew that you were going to die against them the first time around, so fuck them for doing that, basically. Tango cannot get over here to help me out with this guy, who is of course invincible while spinning, another thing that kind of irks me in the enemy design sometimes. In Quintum, just you have to wait them out, you know. Fortunately enough, we've got the Bubble Bomb, which as said is just incredibly good. Its shooting upward is just awkward enough to be relatively balanced, because otherwise it would very immediately be the best weapon. Because it shoots upward, you know, but it is still incredibly good if you get upright in enemies' faces. As you can see here, it's just a matter of learning to use it, which is great. I really love playing around with it, and many other weapons, as opposed to like saltwater, as I said before, it's just not that good, are very fun to play around with, definitely, and even saltwater it's just not good. So yeah. This is a very risky path which will lead us now to this E-tank. You can also kind of cheese it if you just rush up here, yeah, just the last gap and then immediately slide through it. It also avoids the respawn on the rocket. Yeah, it's a little way of cheesing, but of course it is pretty hard to fit into the gap, so everything balances out in the end. Generally, I think that Tango is pretty much the best in dealing with these turtles, which is a huge compliment, I'd say, because I usually tend to not find good use for animal companions, and definitely at this point we do not have anything better to deal with the turtles just because they take so long to kill. Maybe get right up in their face again and try to shoot them with Bubble Bomb, but that causes them to curl up, become invincible and incredibly hard to dodge. Again, not too fun. You really want to charge up here immediately and take out this rocket, otherwise it is incredibly hard to dodge. This can be a problem with these homing type enemies. Which is also really hard to hit is the monkey in general. Knew that I would get hit by a banana sooner or later. Just because of its constant jumping around, I find it very tough to just bust a duel them in general, which is why I'm so glad for the bubble bomb and which is why I recommend you take Venus first. It's just very nice, especially considering I've been using it almost exclusively the entire level and I still haven't run out. This is the amount of weapon energy consumption you should really aim for when designing a special weapon, aka almost nothing at all. I do not feel like the game got broken or in any way. I'm just using it smartly, you know. So Mars. Mars is very tough. He suffers a little from the Mega Man 4 design philosophy phenomenon, whereas he has a very set pattern. He will always do these attacks in the same order and keep tripping that up. And if you know the pattern, then it is really no problem to deal with him, unless you're stupid like me and are bad at pattern recognition, which we have seen so far a lot. But if you do not know it, then he will murder you just by virtue of how much damage he deals. It's not that fun in my opinion, though I do applaud their creativity in the different attacks. For example, the small pellets he shoots out where you just have to hammer on the shoot button, it's something you had to do for the final boss of Quartum, which was ingenious in my opinion, and I always like it when you see that. Photon Missile is not too good. I like the idea of it, in that you can just create sort of a mine, but the delay hurts it too. So you have to get creative with it, which is of course what I'm going to do later on. It is still relatively hard to hit for how little benefit it does, because it again does not deal enough damage in my opinion. This is an item we now have enough P-chips for, which I'm going to show off for the rest of the game more or less, because it is a passive upgrade we're going to have forever now. It is sadly a little unreliable, but we're going to see that in action soon enough. I'm glad that I can get it relatively early, just to show it off as often as possible. As it is a buster upgrade, however, most of the time I will still default to special weapons, you know me. So, now, to back up my words a little with a few demonstrations, Mars is tough. At this point I have already practiced him a lot, but I am pretty bad at pattern recognition, as I said, and just fucking up a few things might easily spell your doom. As you can see, it is really easy to die against him in just like 4 hits. Especially if you cannot dodge his photon missiles. The small pellets are absolutely no problem, but if you tend to jump into his mines that he leaves out there, then you are in a world of pain. And it's always pretty close, and even this attempt is really close, but you can see how frustrating it can get just because you make one mistake, you panic a little, and then he takes you apart. It's just not that cool. However, once more a good attempt where I know exactly what I'm doing for some reason, and I get hit once because again you should stay a little apart from his firing the pellets. It is, as said, a very unique attack in how you have to deal with it, and I really like it. They really went to great lengths to balance out the buster here by just having charging up not be the best option all the time. Well, that does it for Mars. Thank you very much for your attention.